Hello, everyone, and welcome to Carlsbad Seaside Academy 2020-21 informational webinar as we look to expand Carlsbad Seaside Academy. Just want to thank everyone for taking time to join us today. I know we've got a lot of people in here. We're going to have a live stream going on YouTube. Just a few housekeeping notes. We will be recording this webinar and posting it and having a link set up tomorrow morning on the Seaside website. So if you get cut off or you want to come back to it later on, it'll definitely be on there. The Q&A is open for those of you who got into the webinar. So feel free to ask those questions. We will be monitoring those questions throughout the time period here. And at the very end, after the presentation, I will take some time to try to answer as many of those questions as possible. Keep an eye on that whole thing. So again, you're welcome to our webinar for Carlsbad Seaside Academy. Thank you for coming. My name is Jorge Espinoza. I am the principal of Seaside Academy. Tell you a little bit about myself. I have been in education for 29 years. So I've enjoyed this journey for quite some time. I have worked in 6 school districts throughout this time period, both in elementary and secondary education environment. I worked in the state of Ohio for Orange School District. I worked in Tempe, Arizona for Tempe Elementary School District, where I was an 8th grade teacher and taught social sciences, and then became a guidance counselor at the middle school level, so 6th through 8th. I then came out to Los Angeles, California, and worked for Los Angeles Unified School District, where I was a counselor at John Marshall High School in the Los Feliz area, and became an assistant principal there. And from that point forward, I went to Alternative Ed and Moore Park Unified School District, where I was a principal there for 6 years. And for their community high school out there. Really enjoyed working with kids, at-risk students there. And then made the great move down here to Carlsbad Unified School District, and now I'm starting my 7th year here and loving every minute of it. So 29 years of education, 6 school districts, and I have one inspiration, and that's kids. So, I do believe, hey, learning is number one, but so are relationships. And I pride myself on building great relationships with my students and my staff. And I always believe that, you have to know them before you can teach them. And I think that's one of the great things that we can do in this type of program is like really get to know the students and work with them and build on their strengths and help, work on those weaknesses as well. Our program has been around for quite some time, and we've kind of been hidden plain sight, working with about 90 to 100 kids per every school year. But now we're looking to expand. So of course, our purpose and my purpose here is provide this great educational opportunity, and with that, provide that flexibility and build on a meaningful curriculum. Our curriculum is based on the curriculum adopted for the school district and all the different schools and the grade levels. But the thing is that what we get to do is really go deeper with our students and meet with the needs of their families and meet with the needs of the students, and especially those people that really want something outside the normal confines of a regular school. There's so much you can do when you start knocking down these 4 walls and giving students the opportunity to find themselves and to really get some deeper learning. So like I said, Seaside Academy has been around for quite some time. Since 1998, it's been a small independent study program for grades 9 to 12. We've been, last couple of years, been working with 2 really wonderful dedicated staff, Nadine Kunesh and Shannon Schmidt. They have been holding down this school working with about 90 to 100 students every year. And the thing with them is like having 2 teachers they taught a variety of subjects and really worked hard with students to help find themselves and to really work on and work through the challenges that many face, because learning it can be a challenge. So with that in mind, with everything that's gone on over the last few months here, and if you would have told me in early March that I would be having a webinar with hundreds of people looking to expand the program that we have here, I would have thought you were dreaming. Well, dreams come true. And honestly, I want to tell you that this is a dream come true. To be able to expand this program through a K-12 program is quite a challenge, but it's a dream. You know, to be able to work with students, to watch them grow, and to be able to provide, you know, for our kids here, an opportunity that's in an alternative setting. So, you know, expand to K-12. You know, I want to bring on more staff that meet the demand of the program, and that's what we're working on right now. And build community. And when I talk about building community, this is the approach that we take. Building community with, you know, the students, of course, because, you know, they're the most important people here. Working with them to you know, teach them how to use the tools that we'll be using in virtual learning, to learn how to work in an environment where, you know, they're not you know, held to a bell. They don't have to. I mean, they can wake up a little bit later in the morning. They can, you know, eat when they want. They can use the restroom when they want. I mean, I think it's a pretty, you know, interesting thing for kids is that they don't have the rigors of a school day where you're being kind of told the time and place when to do things. And so the thing is, like, working with kids, you know, to work in that environment. And building community is also working with parents. And parents, you know, we're going to be giving you the tools to be able to support your kids at home, to be able to know where things are and how to find them and how to utilize them and be able to give direction, you know, when your kids need it, because we all know kids need a little direction. And to have that constant communication with us so we can, you know, work on the things that are troubling or challenging, and really then celebrate that, you know, what we overcome. So building that community is going to be really important, and you know, we're going to provide the space to make that happen. So with that, we have our mission. Our mission is laid ahead of us. You know, we have students and families that are interested in making this all happen, taking what we've done in the past and working through this here in the future. So I want to create this challenging and nurturing distance learning environment. You know, so we'll guide our students in being self-directed and self-reflective. You know, bringing in engaging teachers to make that all happen, but also provide the flexibility for students to demonstrate learning. You know, I don't want to provide just busy work. I want students to be able to create. I want students to be able to connect. I want students to be able to have those meaningful conversations, not only with their peers, but with their teachers, and even with you at home. You know, talk about what they're learning and be able to show that to you. So, you know, that flexibility is going to be really important in how they demonstrate learning, because kids have strengths, and sometimes, you know, they may not show that strength in a multiple choice test, but they really can show their strength through, you know, through art or through music or through drawing or through their conversation or through a project. So these are the things that we're going to be really honing in on as we move through this school year. I've had great parents that have worked with me, and I reached out to Sue's daughter here. She's been working with me for the last 5 years, and you know, I wanted to talk to her to speak in a little bit about the experiences that she's had with both of her children. You know, one's graduated and one's about to graduate. Her son Elijah, you know, incredibly smart human being, just really didn't fit the mold of in a regular school setting. And when he came to Seaside, he did thrive, and he built strong connections, not only with the teachers, but with other students here. And the thing is that I think that when he finally felt respected and understood, you know, he really flourished. And he graduated from here, actually graduated a little early. And he is now working full-time after completing a program at TCI Miracosta. And we can talk about that another time, but you know, I'm really proud of this young man. He is a project lead. He's a manager. He's not even 20 years old, working with his staff and working out with robotics. His sister has, you know, since been working with me, has been dance ballet and has been taking classes at the community college. And like it says here, she's going to graduate in June of 2021, but will finish her AA in December of 2021. So I think that's pretty incredible. And working with his family has been quite rewarding. You know, these are two students that just graduated, and you know, I took these quotes from what they wrote a card to me when they were leaving and graduating, and it really filled my heart, because being able to understand kids and being able to make them feel comfortable and making learning easier, and making learning easier is something that we really strive to do with our students, because we can provide it in a couple different modalities, and we can, the thing is that in a virtual program, students can stop and back up and restart and then ask questions, and then really have that, part of the community that we build is that they're going to have that connection to teachers, so they can ask those questions. So that's what we're looking for. So with that being said, and now our new charge of bringing in new students and new teachers, we're reimagining Seaside Academy, and we hear you. We heard the concerns, and we've heard also what people liked about having a distance learning environment. So we're moving on with this. So our vision, is, and just think about this, is that giving students the opportunity to be not only socially and emotionally healthy, but also to love learning and to be able to articulate their values and beliefs and passions. Independent study and virtual gives kids that freedom to do that, and I'm talking this flexibility from kindergarten through 12th grade is going to give the students the ability to look at what they want to be, and be able to connect with people in the fields that they want to get into, and to do different kinds of exploration, and to be able to have experiences that they wouldn't necessarily be able to have if they were in a regular school environment. So we're working, the plan is to start working those things. So, students can experience these virtually. They can experience those things, where, hey, you guys, we may want to travel while we're in school. This is going to give you the opportunity to do that. So these new experiences are going to be quite fulfilling when it comes to building this educational environment. So, the thing that really struck me as we did got the feedback from parents and over this last spring is that these things came out clearly, is that parents want the schedules that are consistent. So they want to know when the meeting's going to be posted and where the assignments are. They want to know what's going to be expected of them throughout the week, what's going to be expected of them throughout the month. And with that consistency, being able to find where there's also some flexibility where, okay, so if your kids do much better working in the afternoon, then have them work in the afternoon. But you're able to meet those week's expectations. Sure, there will be scheduled times to meet with a teacher, but a lot of those meetings will be recorded as well, just like we're recording this. So if you want to come back to a later time, or if you can't make it, that's okay. Clear and timely communication. I mean, I believe that this is paramount in being able to create this type of environment for students and for families. Is that that communication is going to come out in a variety of different ways, but you're going to be able to find it on a consistent basis. Help guide you and your children in what is going to be expected during the week, and then also address what how we can provide that support in order to give student success. So with that being said, and having this on, I've been able to hire for this summer so far 2 really rock star teachers, along with the 2 teachers I already have at Seaside Academy, to start planning for the onboarding of this. These 2 teachers, one working at the elementary level and one working at the secondary level, are very excited about the prospects of this program. And I will start off by introducing you to Ms. Katie Rivera, who will be coordinating at the elementary level.
Hi everybody, my name is Katie Rivera. This is my 5th year in Carlsbad. I've been teaching at Poinsettia Elementary in 3rd grade. Before that, I was teaching at Coastal Academy Charter School in Oceanside, and I also am a teacher induction coordinator for Carlsbad. I pair up new teachers with mentors to help them through their first few years of teaching. So I am extremely passionate about teaching and helping new teachers and just creating an environment that helps students really be successful. For this reason, I am so excited to be a part of what Carlsbad Seaside Academy has for this upcoming school year, expanding to a K-12 program and allowing students to really experience this amazing opportunity of virtual learning where they are able to take in lessons at their own pace and work with teachers and their parents to help them be the most successful in that environment. I also feel like it's extremely important for these elementary school students to have that socialization piece in whatever way they can. So if that means we're having online meetings that are not only reading groups and small groups for intervention or challenging groups, but also just meetings where we can have fun. And I just think it's such an exciting opportunity that we all have in front of us for this upcoming year. So I'm really excited to be partnering with you in this next year.
So as you can see, she brings experience. She has worked in a charter school, so she understands the virtual homeschooling aspect of the whole thing and partnering with parents. And then I asked Katie to talk a little bit about the schedule, and so I'm going to share that with you in her next slide.
So last year we were in this state of emergency of remote online learning, and all teachers were just using their mastery in all sorts of areas to create schedules and push those out to families. But we were noticing, and we were hearing from you, that consistency was something that was missing, that your kindergartners and your first graders and all the way through, every single time that somebody logged in, it looked different for different grade levels. Well, Carlsbad Seaside Academy has been working extremely hard so far to really help with that process. We are hoping to use a combination of videos for instruction and online meetings for building those skills to create a consistent educational experience that looks so similar for every grade level, including having calendars that look the same. So if you have a kindergartner and a fifth grader, when you log in, you will see something extremely similar in terms of what the layout looks like. This allows for that partnership to really be seamless and for maybe even to have older students helping those younger students in their educational experience.
So as you can see, this is how we're kind of laying out the week and at the elementary level. And so the second person, Marissa Thompson, is my coordinator that I've been working with to work with our incoming teachers. She's been a fantastic asset to this planning process. And so without further ado, let me introduce you to Marissa.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marissa Thompson. I've been in the Carlsbad Unified School District for 14 years now. I'm a high school English teacher at Carlsbad High. I've also been a teacher support coach for the last year, thanks to a grant by the Carlsbad Ed Foundation. And I've been teaching online at the University of San Diego for the last 5 years. I'm excited about the mission and the vision of CSA. And I love that it's offering students the opportunity to practice a really important skill before they go into the world of work or to college, and that's the skill of self-management. We will be there as teachers, of course. We are there to support them. That's why we came into this profession. But it's also really important to guide them into how to master self-management so that they have a work-life balance, so that they can make sure that they're successful in the things that they need to do and the things that they want to do. And I think this is the perfect opportunity for them to be able to do that. My ultimate goal this summer is to take the feedback that we're getting from teachers and students and families and create not only a schedule, but an experience that will allow students to thrive.
So with that in mind, Marissa also talked a little about what her schedule and how she's going to run hers. So let's take a look at that.
Few years, I've really been updating my instruction and my assignments to make sure that students are practicing not only the subject area skills, but also those life skills that they're going to need regardless of what future they choose for themselves. I want students to be able to find and solve problems. I want them to be able to take the information that they're learning, do something with it, create something with it, and then be able to communicate back not only their creation, but their purpose behind making it through verbal communication, visual communication, and written communication. Those are all really important to me and really important to them, regardless of whatever path they happen to choose. I really hope the information tonight is useful and helps you make the decision that is right for you and your student and your family. Thanks so much.
So, as you can see from Marissa and from Katie's little short videos and discussion here is that we're really trying to be intentional as far as laying out what is going to be expected during the week and really make it so students have access to the material, but also access to the teacher. So as you can see, there is office hours there. There's groups meeting time being set in there, and that's something that we're going to be build on that consistency throughout the school year. So as we build this and as we make this happen for a wide variety of students, just want you to know that this program and how we're going to deliver it is going to be live and interactive. So the students will have the opportunity to log in, to watch the videos, to meet live with their teachers, through Google Meet or Zoom, and to be able to ask questions. So they'll be there. They'll also, if they miss it, there'll be some asynchronous time where, they can watch it later on. And for many students, that'll be really, really helpful. So with those two platforms there, we're going to then work with students to be able to be independent, with the work they're doing by their own. Because let's face it, I think the one thing for parents and myself included is during this whole time is, are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? How do I know what they're supposed to be doing? And are they being successful? I mean, those are big things that you're trying to figure out this whole time when we're doing this remote online learning. So with that in mind, our communication piece is going to be in place. We're gonna give you the templates and tools to be able to guide your students there, so you can have the assurance that they're doing what they should be doing. But this is going to be a collaboration not only with us staff and your student, but with you as well. So with that, we'll also be, thinking about the broader picture of this whole thing, coming in and changing, making a major paradigm shift as far as how school goes. We still want to keep those connections to just traditional school as well, because after this year, you may want to go, your student may want to go back or continue with us, but keeping those connections in mind. So some of the things that I want everyone to know is that we'll collaborate with students and families. If they need the accommodations through an IEP or 504 plan, we will make sure that we have these conversations so that we're providing that free and appropriate public education that we need through an IEP, or that we're providing those reasonable accommodations that are outlined in a 504 plan. And I will speak from personal experience of the students that have come through here with a 504 plan with IEP, that they all have been successful, and we have found ways to work with them. So the thing is that, but when it comes down to this, we have to make sure that this is going to be an appropriate delivery model for your students. So we'll be talking more with many of you about this. We will support our multilingual students in their English mastery. I mean, I think that this is a great way to do it as well. Those challenges pose themselves, and that when we think about it, that when we have that direct instruction and it's recorded, those students will have that opportunity to stop and pause and move back. So to really help with that language acquisition. We will support all students when it comes to even those that have been affected by these current events. I mean, we have seen a lot of students worry about what's going on in the world and feeling anxious. And I honestly feel that being able to stay at home and to stay with their families may open up that opportunity for them to, to continue to learn, because it's really hard to come into, let's say, a regular brick and mortar school and you're feeling anxious about your health or your well-being. And so that creates a barrier to learning. So with that in mind, being in a program like this, they can, provide that comfort and open up their brains for, receiving knowledge. Some of the things too to think about is that, our students in grades 9 to 12, and this has always been the case, is that students that want to work, they have a little bit of flexibility with their time. So, they can apply for jobs that a lot of students couldn't apply for if, because of regular school hours. So I have many students that work 20 hours a week, and some students will work in the morning and then able to do their school in the afternoon. Students that are looking to play sports are still welcome to do it. If you're coming from Sage Creek and you played sports at Sage Creek, you continue to play sports there, or at Carlsbad High. So those things are still in play. Speaking of plays, you can also continue to do theater and things like that at the comprehensive high school. I've had many students that, with choir and dance, with being able to have the flexibility of learning through virtual or independent learning, they, those long practice hours for choir and theater didn't seem so hard because they were able to get their homework done before they went. I do have students that in high school that will take 4 classes with me and maybe take 2 electives at Carlsbad High. A lot of times those electives may be foreign language or electives like art, so, we can have that connection. Students, they can buy the ASB cards from the high schools, they can attend games, they can, they're more than welcome to go to dances. And then, there's been a question about advanced or AP courses. We have offered AP courses through Seaside Academy, and we will look to continue to do that if there's a real student need for that. We'll work on that. We'll look at where students are. Sometimes I may not have the appropriate staff for certain AP classes, so then that's why we still have that connection with our comprehensive high schools. We can make that work. It's new in middle school and elementary school, but I know some students still want to continue to participate in band or orchestra, and we're going to really work to facilitate that process. I have had students, inquire about continuing band at one of the middle schools, and so the answer to that question is yes. You can still do those things, just go for band and then take the rest of your classes through Seaside. Those students that we won't have you miss out on that 8th grade dance. So if one of your homeschool is about to do that, we'll work with your principal. So your former principal. So you can go back and participate in those events. And it'll be a collaborative process. We're all in this together, and the principals at these other schools do know this, and we'll work through this. You're my kids, and if it means that hey, I got to chaperone some 8th grade dances, then I'm happy to do so to facilitate this process with you. Events at these elementary schools, pretty soon. I mean, at some point, we're going to be able to go back and do those fairs and do like multicultural events, let's say at Jefferson, or the Halloween, fairs and things like that at these elementary schools. We want you to encourage you to do that, to keep those connections with your, the students' friends and everything like that. So, this is a unified school district, and that unity even extends to our virtual program. So the big thing is what's next. You've heard from me. You've put your questions here in the Q&A, and here's the thing: is that what we're looking for you, if you decide to make this choice and move over to Seaside Academy, is that there is this commitment, a commitment for the 2020-21 school year. I mean, the reason why is that, if we have this demand and we start the school year out, we're going to be moving resources and people to be part of, this program here. So moving those people and resources, and that happens for an entire school year. So, we want to be able to offer some stability and find solutions. And in order to do that, we have to have some consistency when it comes to staff here at school. So, if we do make this commitment, we look at this being a commitment for the entire school year. So, we've sent you the links as far as, initiating that transfer. I mean, we'll send you the links again if you need them. The window to make the decision to transfer is up until July 24th. And so we look to then staff based on those numbers. The other thing I want you to know is that when we do this is that we're going to build a partnership, and a partnership, starts off with, of course, the most important people, and that's our students. And then their supports. Their supports are you, your parents, or the grandparents, or the people that have played an integral part of this. We'll be making those discussions, and so having those discussions and working with you, so we can plug in the people that to help your sons, your daughters, or your kids at home. And if that means that grandma, grandpa are going to jump in too, then we want them, or uncles, aunts, older siblings, what have you. We want to build that partnership. Our staff is going to be 100% dedicated to making this happen. I have my current staff and my staff I'm going to hire, and they know that this is going to be a process where we have very intentional communication with students and families, and there'll be an ongoing feedback. The only way you get better at things is by having feedback from your teacher, or now some feedback from parents, because really I want to deliver the best program possible for you and your kids, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So we've heard a lot. You've taken in quite a bit for how this is all going to work. The thing is, and during a virtual school, it is a big difference from a regular school environment. It is going to be meaning that we take some time together to figure out how to do these things and do them well. We promise that we will teach you and your students how to do them and do them well. And we're moving on to this next step. So with no further ado, we're going to provide you that opportunity to answer those questions. When this is over, I will take some time to answer those. I did send everyone who RSVP'd a form for questions that they may have after. So if we don't answer the question for you, don't feel bad. Don't fret. We will check that form tomorrow morning as well. And on July 9th, we're going to go back live, talk about some of the questions that have been posed to us, and then try to clear up any kind of misconception, and try to help you make the right choice by July 24th. So with that in mind, thank you. Thank you for listening. Let's take your questions.
All right. I think what I'll start off doing here is with, I have a list of the questions here, and I'll start working through them and see if we can, I think we addressed some of those questions we had here, but we'll start off from the beginning. Does Seaside have a PTA beyond PSAC, and will it for 2020-21? So let me just really break something down for you. Is that right now I don't have any students really enrolled in Seaside Academy as we speak. We have students that are requesting transfer. Right now there's a small number of them, but those things are going to come on board. And of course, with that being said, yes, I think we would the need for PTA or some form of parent, and of course I want parent involvement, so those things would evolve. So I think that's kind of where we were at with that. I mean, basically, I've had a small school for such a long time that I haven't really had a PTA because it's so few students. So I've heard a few questions about kindergartners and the curriculum from home. So like I just described to you, this is a partnership, and the expectation is that especially at K1, 2, and we're going to be working with the student, but also with you. There will be those synchronous live meetings, and also asynchronous where you can come back to. So the thing is that we're going to tailor that curriculum because we know 5-year-olds and how they prefer to play and do things, but we will develop activities. We'll do small group activities online as well. But yeah, we're going to need a little parent help because they're going to be at home and turning those things on. So that will be, it is a challenge, but it is something that I find that a lot of parents like working with when it comes to this. But it's going to be an experience for those 5-year-olds, of course. But they have that opportunity to work at home and get those materials from the teacher. As far as there's a question about IEPs and special education teachers, again, what we're working on is that looking at the need of how many students that we do have and who's coming in, and so we're going to base those questions and base that on who we have for the students. So, Brent Nielsen, who's in charge of special ed, and Tim Evanson, we've been meeting, and, we'll be meeting one-on-one with parents, because again, if we're making this change in placement, we're going to have that conversation to make sure that we can meet the needs of students. And I do know that special ed is making doing a lot of work this summer to meet the needs of all of our students. So that's going to be an evolving process. Let's go back up to the top here. Wow, so many questions, 95 of them. So let's answer a few more of them. There's been a lot of questions, let's say, about the classes as far as the curriculum. Well, the curriculum that we've had at Seaside for the number of years in high school has mirrored the curriculum at Sage Creek and at Carlsbad High. I will say that my students have excelled in these classes. We have offered some AP classes, but I've had a few teachers. So we've really worked a lot of partnerships with, students will take 3 or 4 classes here and take 1 or 2 of those classes at Carlsbad High or at Sage Creek. Or if we have enough students and we have the teacher in place, we will offer that. We will really try to offer those classes the same. It does, basically we'll be offering classes based on student need. So some other questions as far as there were some questions about sports. I did answer that students do have the opportunity to play sports at their home high school. There was a question about CIF. They are eligible through CIF. So if the student was attending Carlsbad High School last year and played for Carlsbad High School, they could play for Carlsbad High School again, do the next sports season. There's been some questions about the NCAA. We're working with the NCAA right now. Before, they did not recognize the way we did independent study, but because things have changed with COVID-19, there's some work that we can do, and so I'm working this summer to make that happen. There's some questions about honors and advanced classes for middle school. Again, these are things that based on the number of students and where we have, we'll really accommodate them, and my teachers, the way they're going to develop the curriculum, it's going to be we're going to work individually with each one of those students. And so the thing is, yes, if we have advanced students, we're going to give them the work that's really going to challenge them. And the thing is and prepare them for honors and AP classes when they get up to high school. There's been a lot of questions about going back in the middle of the school year. And, I did answer this earlier, is that, we are moving resources and people around to make this happen. And so, again, we are asking for the full year commitment, and so we can do this. And then the following school year, if you want to go back to your home school, then that's definitely an option that you can have. I know there's a lot of, worry about that, of if this doesn't work out. But the thing is that, again, is that we want to work with you. We want to create that partnership. So we, if we have the issues that we need to work through, then we want to work through that. So there were some questions so what is the difference between, what we did in the spring and what Seaside's going to do here in the, this upcoming school year? Well, first of all, let me first say that the students at Seaside that were, were with me during the springtime really didn't miss a beat, because honestly and truthfully, they were prepared for this type of learning in the first place. My teachers were readily available to meet with them. They held, math classes. They did some of their labs online at the same time. So we were able to, address those issues that they had. And to be honest with you, my students did really well. And honestly and truthfully, the teachers really felt that it gave them a great opportunity to help them learn and grow. So yes, I did mention it earlier as far as the differences is that, in the springtime, we approached this as an emergency, but this summer we have plenty of time to plan and get ready. I'll be working in getting a staff set and giving them time to plan and bring about that continuity when it comes to getting ready for the upcoming fall. And I will tell you this is that as we work through this, we'll be collaborating. And again, it's, if you decide to come work with me and, the conversation, if it's, via email or on the phone, but we're going to work through these issues and provide a great opportunity for your students. So is all the content online. So right now, so what the teachers are doing is they're delivering content their own. We're not buying anything like Apex or anything like that. We're looking at delivering this content virtually. But the difference is that it's not in a classroom, so it really affords us opportunities to do some really deeper learning and activities. So there will be times where students are going to meet as a larger group. They're going to meet as a smaller group together, maybe groups of 4 or so, where I like to call it kind of like a campfire group. And so those students will be working together and developing a relationship there. And then, that we may change those groups around where those students jigsaw to other groups. So there'll be a lot of collaboration when it comes to this. And the other thing too is that though, we're doing this and trying to practice our physical distancing and everything like that, my goal is that throughout this upcoming school year is that we do find opportunities to do live events where, we're maybe going to the park or we'll be meeting other places, practicing our physical distancing, but getting students to, to have interact live with each other is going to be an important thing. But, we're going to give parents the opportunity to make those decisions and go through that. But what I want to stress is that this program, though it's in response to what's happened for COVID-19, we're looking to create this for a long-term program so that it is K through 12 for the entire school district, and we want to make this work for students. So I do know that there's a lot of questions about will students get one-on-one attention? And yes, they will get one-on-one attention. They will get small group attention. They will my teachers, and we will have times that we will be able to reach out and and my teachers will have will answer their questions as quickly as possible, and there will be set office hours throughout the week. So there were some questions about, will video instructions come from a teacher? Yes. And there will be links to other online resources? Yes. There was some questions about Khan Academy. That is a resource that we have used, but we're not going to just rely solely on that. And so the thing is when it comes to, we talked about instruction, is that, when we start the school year, we're going to teach students how to utilize the tools, how to meet the expectations of what the teachers are asking them to do. And if it, and it may take some time, but the thing is that as we progress through the year, we're going to see students become experts in using these tools and, be able to demonstrate their learning in a variety of ways. And what we want to do is find the strengths that students have, and, that they may be able to demonstrate their learning in other ways. So, I know this sounds kind of, nebulous and everything like that, but the reality is that what I see is that students are going to get more of an opportunity to really demonstrate their learning and really get an opportunity to get a lot of help. So there's a couple questions about related services that students receive through their IEP. If a student comes here and they have an IEP, we will work with you and provide those services like speech and speech and language, and we'll make those things happen. Let me continue to go through these lists. Advanced classes, I have a great math teacher already, and she's really kind of chomping at the bit to be working with the 7th and 8th graders. We've had students come through Seaside that started with us and then got all the way through discrete math over at Palomar and Miracosta. So we really prepare them well for this. In fact, I have a student that just emailed me, was going to Berkeley next year, and one of the things that she's going to major in statistics is that what she learned in Algebra 2 from Ms. Kunesh is she carries with her all the time. There's some questions about teachers working remotely. Teachers will be coming to work based on, or based on what the the health orders are for the district. So they will have a place to work here. We will have home bases. The middle school and high school will be housed here on the campus here at CVA and at CVA Seaside here at the southwest corner of Carlsbad High School. And then we are working to get some we're most likely, I'm not going to say where we're going yet, but we will be using some rooms at an elementary school here in the district very soon. That news will come out here shortly as far as where we'll be housing our elementary school kids. So as far as for fifth grade teacher, as far as the ratio and the things like that of kids per class, we're working on that, and trust me, it'll match the normal teacher ratios that we have here throughout the district. It won't be overloaded. If we come down to it, it just depends on the number of students that enroll in the school. So we may have some combo classes, or we may not. It all depends on, of course, the student need. So some questions about transferring. If you do the online transfer in Aries, the move is taken over here, so you don't have to disenroll from your former school. We take care of that online. So there's some questions about will the draft schedule of the day would look like in elementary school. So I think we can, Katie did share some of her ideas as far as that, but maybe we can get a little more explicit as far as like what a day would look like, and we can bring some of that on the July 9th webinar, because we're going to go answer some of these questions. As far as the available classes, we will begin posting that here soon. Typically let's say for high school, and we will have your English, math, math all the way through pre-calculus. We do have a few students to take calculus. We will have we will also have all the sciences, and we will have all the social science classes. As far as electives go, that's going to be something that we're working on, and again, it's really hard to say for sure what we'll have elective wise. That's why we're leaving it open for parents to make that choice between maybe sending their students for some of those electives over at the other schools, or utilizing the community college. Oh, so social interaction. That is a great question, and that is always a challenge when you're working with an online school. So the thing is, when it comes to social interaction, is we're going to be building community, and building community is a process, and of course it's going to take some time. Where those things will happen, like I said, in the small groups. And then when we get into our classes, again, we'll start planning some of those events where we'll be meeting together in person. Again, there's some questions, those NCAA eligibility. I think I like to address those things a little bit, in person, so we can talk about that at another time. There's some questions about ESL classes. Again, that's based on student need, and so we're going to address student need and a number of students that we have. So if we need students that are going to need some of that support, then we're going to find a way to do that. So there's been a couple questions on the deadline for the virtual school, and the deadline is going to be the 24th. That's going to be that is going to be the day to make that decision. That allows everyone who has, we're going to have that board meeting on the 22nd, and so then you can make those final decisions. So you do have time to make that decision. After that, we will close it, and then if there are more students that want to come in and we move teachers, then what will happen is that we'll be able to place students based on if we have availability or not. So to ensure your space, you do need to make that decision before the 24th, and then after the 24th, it'll be based on what we have, what resources we have here in place. So, you know, there's still a lot of questions, and we're getting here to the end of our session here. So what we're doing is we're curating all of these questions, and we're going to be looking at all of them. And then we're going to come back again on July 9th, and we can send you a link to that as well. So we can then, maybe we miss some of these things. We'll be able to answer them then. My email has been is on all of your the invites that I sent to you. So if you have you want to email me some questions. If there's, I think there's a form there that you can link to, and you put those questions there. I know that this was a lot in a very short period of time, but this is just our first attempt at really getting out this information to all of you. So just a few other things that like to talk about is that, again, the elective classes, that's the last question I have on there. That's the final one I'm going to go for. Elective classes, we do have the opportunity for students to take some of those elective classes at their previous schools, and we'll work on that to make that work. It's really easy for high school. That's a past practice we have. You know, middle school, that's what we're working on, and then there was a question about elementary school, and I think that's something that is a possibility as well. The bottom line is that we want to work with you and create a great environment for you and for your students. So with that being said, I would like to thank you guys for taking the time to come in here. We've had a significant number of participants, and I look forward to looking more at these questions and trying to answer them. I know this is a big decision. It's a big decision, and there's a lot out there, and it's hard to get away from what traditional school has been. I just want to tell you, as a parent, I know what this is like. I have 2 freshmen in high school as we speak right now. They, for all my high school parents out there, I know they drive you crazy. They've been driving me crazy. And to do something like this is a big jump. Talk to your kids. Have those conversations with them. Really work with them. And if they know anybody that has been at Seaside before, talk to them as well. This is a great opportunity, and I've seen students thrive in this. And I just want to let you know, as I will put my heart and soul into making this a great program for you and your children. And with that, I thank you. I appreciate you coming this evening, and tune in July 9th if you have a really burning question. Thank you.